at the very beginning of this episode, Kirk and Rashida are in their house setting up a room for Kirk's son that he has with Jasmine because Kirk decided that he was going to try to get full custody. Which it was weird to me that they were setting up a room because I feel like the little boy is 8 years old. I feel like he should have already had a room in their house, but whatever. Rashida ends up saying that the reason why Kirk is trying to get full custody of his son that he has with Jasmine is because Jasmine keeps trying to get more money out of them and he doesn't like it. He's tired of her pushing and pushing for more money, so he felt like it was necessary for him to get full custody. Now, Kirk admits that he doesn't think that Jasmine is a bad mother, but she seems to be acting like she's struggling to take care of one child, so that's the reason why he feels like his son would be better off with him. And look, I'm not going to say that she's a bad mother or she's not a bad mother because I don't know what her parenting is like, but what I will say is that Rashida looks crazy to me dealing with this drama that Kirk has put her involved in. She should have left him, in my opinion, when he stepped out and had a baby on her, because then she wouldn't be involved in any of this drama at all. I don't feel bad for Kirk in this situation because he knew he was married and he chose to step out and have a baby outside of his marriage, so I really don't feel bad for him in this situation. I don't really feel bad for Rashida either because she seems to be a willing participant. I mean, she decided to stay with him and she's not going to divorce him, so I don't feel bad for her either. The only person that suffers in this situation is the child that Kirk has with Jasmine if him and Jasmine don't come up with some type of agreement. And in this episode, Jasmine actually ends up meeting up with her mother and Rod to tell them about how Kirk is trying to get full custody of their son. And according to Jasmine, she doesn't feel like he really wants full custody because she claims that he was offered 2 visits a month with their son and he declined them. So she feels like the only reason why he's trying to get full custody is because he doesn't want to have to pay child support, which he kind of confirmed that at the beginning of this episode when he was talking to Rashida. He said that, Jasmine keeps wanting more money and he doesn't want to pay it. And so he basically confirmed that is the reason why he's trying to get full custody. Jasmine starts telling Rod and her mother that Kirk only pays $1,000 a month for child support and she feels like that wasn't enough, and that's the reason why she tried to bring him to court because she wanted to settle on a reasonable amount. Now, I saw people arguing in the comment section on whether or not $1,000 a month is enough for one child that's 8 years old, and I personally don't know because I don't know what her child does. I don't know if he's in private school. I don't know if he does sports or after school programs. I don't know how fast he's growing. I just don't know what he does that would cause her to need more money, so I can't really say what's a reasonable amount. So because there's been some tension between Rennie and Sierra these last few episodes, they decide to meet up with each other to talk out whatever issues that they have. And Sierra was basically talking the whole time and kind of cutting Rennie off a lot. She wouldn't really let Rennie get a word in edgewise. And she started saying how she felt some type of way because last season when Rennie had her baby, she was asked by one of the producers who in the group she would have watch her son. And when Rennie went down the list, Sierra was listed last, and she said that she wasn't listing Sierra last saying that she would never let her watch her son. She was just saying that Sierra is always wrapped up in her own world, that she didn't think that it was necessary to have her be the first person she would choose to watch her son. And Sierra obviously felt a way about that. I mean, I feel like a lot of people would feel some type of way about that. However, I feel like Rennie didn't mean any harm by what she said, and if they had a real friendship, I feel like Sierra should have went to Rennie with her feelings instead of just ghosting her because that made things worse than what it needed to be. I feel like Sierra lacks a lot of maturity and she makes everything about herself, which a lot of people have said about Sierra. Everybody that's been friends with Sierra has said that she's all about herself. She always plays a victim and she's never there for other people the way that she wants other people to be there for her. And that was very clear that the same thing happened with her and Rennie. Sierra started trying to check Rennie about how she wasn't there for her when she was in the hospital when she had got that leg tattoo and she went really numb in her legs. Rennie wasn't one of the people that showed up, but Rennie said that she was very much pregnant at that time and she got really sick at a booking and that's the reason why she didn't go. And she said that she did reach out to Sierra and apologize to her for not being there, so I don't understand why, Sierra is bringing this up. And there was a point during this conversation between Rennie and Sierra where I felt like Sierra took things a little bit too far because she ended up mentioning to Rennie that she was there for her when her mom passed away without Rennie having to ask her to be there for her. And Rennie seemed to be really taken aback by that. And I would be too, because why are you throwing in your friend's face that you were there for her when her mother passed away? I mean, I understand that Rennie wasn't there in the hospital when her leg went numb from a tattoo, but a parent dying and you being in the hospital because you got a tattoo that made your leg numb, from is two completely different things. And Rennie ended up telling Sierra that Sierra only came to see her one time when her mother passed away and she had cameras with her, so she feels like Sierra was just being her friend for the cameras and not being her friend in real life, which Rennie has mentioned in last week's episode as well, that she felt like Sierra was being performative in their friendship. Now look, Jessica is a little bit delusional to me because she said in this episode that she's still upset with everybody who she felt like ruined her event in last week's episode, which is Shekinah and Spice. And I don't feel like Shekinah and Spice ruined Jessica's event. I feel like Jessica ruined her own event. She knew that Spice did not like Jasmine, so I don't understand why she got mad when Spice didn't say anything to Jasmine when she tried to introduce them. Yeah, that was rude of Spice to not say anything. However, Spice did try to walk away from the situation, and Jessica literally yelled across the room calling her ghetto. So obviously things are going to escalate from there because you just yelled at somebody calling them stuff. So I mean, things did escalate to where it didn't need to go, because Spice did not need to go off on Jasmine the way that she did because Jasmine didn't do anything. But Jessica ruined her own event. Like, she kicked off ruining her own event and she needs to take accountability. And Jessica is still being a little bit messy because she decides to meet up with her niece in this episode to get the receipts of Mendeecees trying to get with her so that she can bring it back to Yandy. She said that she did not want to show up to see Yandy without any receipts, even though I believe even if there were legitimate receipts of Mendeecees cheating on Yandy, Yandy wouldn't believe it and she wouldn't care anyway. To me, she's just like Rashida and she's gonna stand by her man regardless. Jessica's niece seemed like she wasn't even comfortable being on camera, but she did end up pulling up the DMs between her and Mendeecees, and it didn't really seem like their conversation even went anywhere. I don't think anything happened between the two of them. That doesn't mean that Mendeecees has not cheated on Yandy, because a lot of people have came out and said that they witnessed him doing it, but I don't feel like he did anything with, you know, Jessica's niece. And that's based off the receipts that they showed in this episode. The conversation was literally lackluster. They really didn't say anything to each other, really. But Jessica did say that she was going to take these receipts to Yandy, and she did say that she was uncomfortable having to go to another woman about her husband, and I don't feel like she's uncomfortable about it, because if she was so uncomfortable, she wouldn't do it to begin with. I don't feel like her and Yandy even have a friendship, and like I said before, even if you do bring receipts to Yandy of Mendeecees cheating, she's not going to care anyway. She's going to look the other way. So Rod ends up deciding to meet up with Kirk to find out what's going on himself, since Jasmine came to him saying that Kirk is trying to get full custody of their son. Now, he came there defending Jasmine, saying that he didn't think that it was necessary for Kirk to try to get full custody because their son doesn't even call Kirk dad, according to Rod and Jasmine. So he just feels like they need to come up with some type of different agreement and really try to work things out for the sake of their son. Now, he thought that he was going to be defending Jasmine, but Kirk ended up pulling out receipts, Cash App receipts of how much money he's been sending Jasmine. He claims that it shows on his Cash App everything that he sent her and why he sent her the money, because she was asking for it. He even said that he sent her money for her car when her car needed to get fixed. So Rod is feeling embarrassed a little bit because he feels like Jasmine was lying to him. And look, if the receipts that Kirk showed Rod are true, that he has been consistently sending money to Jasmine whenever she asks for it, then she is lying about how much money he's been sending her, and that's something that she needs to figure out. She's going to have to counter that with her own receipts to prove that he actually hasn't been really sending her any money, so that people don't think that she's lying, because it doesn't really look good for her in this situation. However, once again, I don't feel bad for Kirk because he put himself in this situation. So because Rennie and Bambi are concerned for Saucy Santana because he made a post that really, you know, kind of scared them a little bit, they decided to meet up with him and try to figure out what's going on. And he gets really emotional talking to them, telling them about how, you know, he was seeing his ex and his ex was talking to somebody else. And when he confronted his ex about it, things got physical and, you know, it was just really traumatizing for him. So he was talking about DV. He was in a DV relationship, and he said that he was in that relationship for a really long time, and he thought that that toxic DV relationship was normal. That's what he thought was normal. And so he just felt like, you know, he was accepting it. And now he realizes that that wasn't really love, and it's not something that he should have accepted, and that he will no longer accept it again. And Rennie also ended up opening up to him about how she was in her own DV relationship before, so that he wouldn't feel alone, and he knows that somebody else understands what he was going through. I felt like this was an important conversation for them to have on this show because so many people are in DV relationships and some people don't even realize that they're in them because it's so normalized to them. Please don't let people on social media that, glamorize their toxic relationships make you think that that type of situation is normal. It's definitely not normal, but I do think that it was important for them to have this conversation, and I think it could be helpful for a lot of people. So at the very end of this episode, Jessica decides to take these receipts that her niece Robin gave her of Mendeecees trying to get with her in the DMs to Yandy because she wanted to make sure that Yandy knew from her what was going on. And Jessica immediately starts crying while she's talking to Yandy, and you can tell that Yandy is confused as to why Jessica was crying. I was honestly confused as to why she was crying. If this is so traumatizing for her, why is she going to Yandy with this information anyway? But she ends up telling Yandy that her niece told her that when she was at a club, Mendeecees came up to her and told her that his marriage was complicated with Yandy, and then he ended up DMing her trying to get with her. So Yandy ends up asking to see these receipts, and then she ends up asking Jessica what her niece's name is, and when she tells Yandy that her niece's name is Robin, Yandy ends up saying that she was actually the one that was messaging Robin, and she tells the story of what really happened at the club that day. Yandy said that her and Mendeecees were at the club that night, and this woman aggressively came up to him trying to talk to him, and basically she saw it and she felt uncomfortable with the interaction, so she questioned Mendeecees about it, and she ended up asking him what her name was, and he said that her name was Robin. So she looked up Robin's name on Instagram and she found it, and she decided to DM her pretending to be Mendeecees, and the conversation was really nothing. Yandy pulled the conversation up on her own phone, and the conversation was really just them asking how each other was doing, and that was really it. Yandy said that it was her the entire time talking to this woman. It was not Mendeecees. Which to me, that didn't really prove that much. It just proved that Yandy really doesn't trust Mendeecees, because why do you have his Instagram signed in on your phone? Like, why are you the one controlling his DMs and you're the one contacting people? I feel like Yandy felt uncomfortable with the interaction that she saw Mendeecees have with Robin at this club, and she felt like maybe something was going on between the two of them, so she felt like it was necessary for her to message Robin to see how the conversation went, to see if they actually met up before or if they were familiar with each other outside of this interaction that they had at the club. So it shows that she really doesn't trust Mendeecees. But what it also shows is that people are purposely trying to trip up Mendeecees so that they can get him caught up in cheating, and that seems like that's what happened with this whole Robin situation. I feel like Jessica should have actually got the real information before she decided to bring this to Yandy, because she kind of sat there looking stupid after Yandy proved that she was actually the one that DM'd Robin in the first place. So it's time for her to kind of stay out of people's business, and Yandy ends up calling Mendeecees outside so that he can talk to Jessica as well, and she starts telling him that everybody is trying to ruin their marriage, and she starts crying. Okay, Yandy starts crying, and she looks at the camera and she starts yelling in the camera, telling people to stop trying to ruin her marriage, and everybody wants to see them broken up and their family torn apart, and she tells people that they need to stop. And I just feel like she has a lot of misplaced anger. Yes, there are some women who will purposely try to get at Mendeecees because they know that he's married and they want to try to get him caught up in a situation, but if he doesn't end up giving in and he doesn't do anything, then there's nothing for him to get caught up in. A lot of people, more than just, Jessica's niece, have said that he's tried to get with her, and so I just feel like there might be some truth to what people are saying. And look, I just feel like she needs to check Mendeecees, because whatever he's doing out here, people are talking about it, and it has to be something disrespectful that he's doing behind Yandy's back if multiple people are talking about it. I will say that people have yet to show some actual receipts of him cheating on Yandy, but I feel like even if they do show actual receipts of him cheating on her, she's not gonna leave him anyway. She's just like Rashida, in my opinion, and so she's gonna stay with him regardless. I just feel like they keep coming to her with this situation, but they're not showing any actual receipts, because those messages that Jessica showed Yandy didn't really show anything. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos, and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.